Finally, we start to get some clarity here this week astrologically. Definitely things have been confusing, maybe all over the place, and just really trying to figure out our truth and how to move forward with our truth. And this is definitely a powerful week. We have Mercury that's going to sextile Neptune on Monday, Mercury in Gemini, Neptune in Aries, with a new moon in Gemini. So this is a time to really tap into the highest version of yourself, be guided by your intuition and your creativity, and let that spark fuel your imagination and your ambition and your self-determination. Because this new moon in Gemini is a new beginning for all of us to rewire our minds, to focus on how we want to better communicate, how we want to better share our ideas. And then with this Sun conjunct Mercury on Thursday, May 29th, and before that on Tuesday, May 27th, we have Mercury trine Pluto. So talk about the mind being reshaped, reframed, remolded with a higher, more clearer truth of our reality and how we understand ourselves and how we understand the world and how we want to go about moving forward with our truth, moving forward with that clarity. Because that Sun conjunct Mercury is bringing a direct message, the Cazimi is bringing a direct message of truth and clarity, right? The Sun, your soul, Mercury, the mind, the heart, and the heart and the mind operating on the same page, and being able to understand your personal truth that brings deep clarity. And then we end the week with Venus conjunct Chiron. I feel this is about shedding off, letting go of your old sense of self. Because what is Chiron? And this is happening in Aries. Chiron deals with your deepest wounds. It's the wounded healer. So the one good thing about Chiron is, like, yes, it can bring up wounds and where you feel weak or not capable. But once you really tune into what that is and you do the deep work around it, then you can flip that weakness into a strength. Chiron always rewards when you do the work, but the work itself can feel very much like, ugh, I don't want to deal with this shit. And so with it being Venus, it can bring up things in regards to self-worth, self-esteem. And Aries deals with your identity, who you are. And so there's this new fresh beginning happening, and then this test at the end of the week of being able to let go of the old hurts and the old wounds from the past, and to really step in and embody who you want to be, how you want to create, the type of lifestyle that you want to live, and being able to fully embody that with courage, with strength, moving forward with self-determination, being bold, and allowing yourself to be open and receptive to that newer version of yourself. So we're going to go ahead and jump into the charts here and take a look at the individual days. But I would say this is definitely a great week to write a new chapter. And just another thing that I want to touch on here is that with Saturn now coming into Aries and Neptune that's now here in Aries, this is a whole new chapter and a whole new timeline that Spirit and the divine and God is waiting for you to start defining and creating. Because Aries deals with the ability to be able to take the lead, to take the initiative. And Saturn and Aries will bring test. It's going to test you. We got to take action. Especially with Neptune being there in Aries, it's like there's this higher vision and this higher ideal that sparks ambition and drive and fuels your creativity of a higher new spiritual principle in which you want to live your life. But Saturn only rewards through effort. Saturn only rewards through responsibility. Saturn only rewards through being strategic. So you're not stuck. You're actually free. But the work is definitely required. So let's go ahead and jump into the transits here. And let me pull this all up really quick. Okay, so here we have it. May 26th, Monday. There's a lot going on this day. This moon in Taurus is going to sextile that north node in Pisces. The moon in Taurus is going to conjunct Uranus in Taurus. The moon is going to come into Gemini, then that moon is going to right away sextile Saturn in Aries. That moon is going to then conjunct Mercury also at the same time in Gemini. And then we'll have the moon that's going to sextile Neptune in Aries. And then, of course, we have Mercury sextile Neptune this day. And then that new moon that is forming. But we're closing out this past lunation cycle with all these lunar transits. And the moon also, too, in Gemini is going to trine Pluto in Aquarius. But at the end of the day, just depending on where you live, I'm going off Central Time because I live in Texas, right? So you just have to correlate this to your time zones. But this new moon in Gemini will happen at about 10 p.m., 10:02 p.m. So it's going to happen at night. And so this is the new cycle that we're stepping into in Gemini when it comes to writing a new chapter and beginning fresh. Specifically when it comes to the way that you think, the way that you believe, the way that you communicate, the way that you express and share your ideas, the way you socialize, the way you have conversations. Very stimulating energy that's about to kick off here, and an invigorating energy because air itself is very invigorating. Gemini is invigorating, and it's curious. It's witty. It wants to try all types of new different things, right? And so all these new things are coming in, or newer things are coming in, right, that we're going to feel curious to explore. But until then, if we go to the chart here, we have this moon here in Taurus that's going to sextile that north node in Pisces. No, this moon in Taurus is all about being grounded in your values here. And the moon in Taurus is very much focused on prosperity, love, beauty. Right? It could be money and resources and that stuff as well. But this is really helping us. I see this day as a day of alignment, like getting back into alignment. Even all these moon transits that are happening this day are all positive. So Monday, this is the week. This starts the week off great when it comes to realigning yourself, because this moon in Taurus here, sextile the north node in Pisces, this is where you can start to feel more grounded and anchored into your values, anchored into, beauty and prosperity, that feel good, pleasant energy, and also your intuition guiding you here with the north node in Pisces. Right, and the nodes in astrology, I say they deal with fate and destiny. The north node, the nodes are about your soul's evolution and growth, and the north node is about the future. It wants to establish and create a better future for yourself. And with it being in Pisces, it's a future that embodies your highest ideal, and having to surrender and trust that, and trust in the unknown, but move forward with your intuition. And so this moon here that's making this sextile today to that node is intuitively anchoring you into a higher timeline here. But you have to listen to your intuition and be guided by it. And then this moon is going to, if we go forward here, this moon is going to conjunct Uranus and Taurus. Here it is, this moon here in Taurus, conjunct Uranus and Taurus. So I always say any type of moon, Uranus transits, particularly if they're like squares, conjunctions, oppositions, you can expect the unexpected. There's going to be disruptions, but the thing about Uranus is that it brings liberation. It wants to break you free from convention. It wants to help bring innovation and change and transformation. So there could be some unexpected things that come up, or some unexpected emotional shifts, but just know that Uranus is trying to help you here innovate, disrupt things a bit, so that way you can transform. Right, and also too, moon conjunct Uranus can be, where it shifts, it kind of urges you, it pushes you emotionally to, start to create a better, more prosperous life, and to feel better with that moon. And then we have this moon that's going to, later in the day, it's going to come into Gemini. It's going to come into Gemini here. And as you can see up here, here's the times. So if I skip over the times, you can always just look right here at the times, right? And of course, I'm Central Time. But if you take a look here, and even if you're on your phone, you can like zoom in on the phone, right? And you can like scroll and see. So, so anyways, but this moon will come into Gemini. It'll be around 1 p.m. Central Time. The other two transits I just talked about will be early in the morning, 4 a.m., 8 a.m., from 4 a.m. to 8 a.m., going all the way till probably until this moon comes into Gemini. So this moon now in Gemini, it's at 0 degrees, and what's here at 0 degrees as well is also Saturn. Saturn is now in Aries, which for me, it's my Saturn return. But Saturn in Aries is going to test your self-determination, drive, courage, and bravery to take the initiative, to start, being more bolder, and not hold yourself back anymore. Now, Saturn in Aries is wanting you to be more strategic and not as reckless and as impulsive, right? When it comes to your taking action and taking the initiative. But the good thing about this moon in Gemini, the moon in Gemini is very quick, witty, it's seeking stimulation, curiosity, new ideas, conversation, socializing. And this sextile here to Saturn in Aries, well, it's giving the mind, the moon in Gemini, your mind and your emotions structure and an outlet here to really implement those ideas, have those conversations, move forward with those ideas. Because Saturn is a planet, I'm pretty sure everybody knows what Saturn is, but let me just touch base on Saturn really quick. Saturn deals with limitation, restriction, right? It sort of shows you your limits and what you need to do to move past those limits. So it always comes with work and responsibility. Right, but since there's a good aspect here with this moon sextiling it, it's a good opportunity for you to really, with Saturn, take the responsibility with the moon in Gemini and start having those conversations, communicating, sharing your ideas, moving forward with your ideas. I always say moon sextile Saturn, moon trine Saturn, it's like really good to like do deep work, right? Because the moon is rhythm, right? And Saturn provides structure and consistency and endurance. So it provides a consistent rhythm of endurance for you to be able to structure and work and to implementation grounds those ideas, right? So that's that moon making that sextile to Saturn. And then we're going to have, this day's packed, and then the moon as well, it's already here with Mercury as well. So your mind and your emotions, your intellect and your emotions are all operating on the same page. And every time I see a Mercury conjunct the moon, like intuitively move forward with your truth. It's like whatever new ideas or whatever truth or whatever conversations or just your own internal dialogue, it's all, it's syncing, right? So there's this energy of letting your mind lead, letting your intuition lead. But it's just more clear, it's more clarity of truth, your emotional truth, what you want to communicate emotionally, what resonates emotionally, right? And as well, Mercury is sextiling Neptune this day. So talk about the intellect and the mind tapping into this higher version of yourself, Neptune. Neptune is a planet of the ideal. It deals with the imagination. It sparks creativity. It sparks your intuition. And I've been saying Neptune and Aries, I'm going to keep saying it, it's like visions of glory. Because what is Aries? Like Aries is about self-determination, boldness, and initiative. And Aries also deals with identity as well. So it's like you can tap into these higher parts of yourself and start channeling that energy. Trust your intuition. Take action on your intuition. Take action on your creativity. Where are you intuitively feeling guided? Because if you want to go even deeper into it, like humanistic astrology, Neptune deals a lot with where it deals with meaning, to where you're being called to re-examine and reevaluate everything that you have known before, and it's being examined in a new, higher spiritual light, right? Of a new ideal that infuses meaning, right? To move forward to. And then as well, this moon is going to trine Pluto just before we step into this new moon in Aquarius, or not Aquarius, this new moon in Gemini. So if we take a look here, here we go, this moon, here we go, let's back this up a bit. Yeah, here we go, right here. So this moon here is at Gemini at 3 degrees. We're getting close to that new moon in Gemini at 5 degrees. So we're getting very close, right? We're in the balsamic dark moon phase. And always in the dark moon phase, whatever planets are sort of within that 30-degree range before you go into the new moon, there's always a special message. And it's Mercury here and Uranus. Mercury is with it being in Gemini, it's clarity. You're about to gain a lot of clarity. And Uranus being there as well, it's clarity that you can now start to transform and innovate with, and how you want to make your life more prosperous, make your life more beautiful. And I see here that this moon that's going to be trining Pluto, this is what's intuitively coming through right now, because I'm channeling as I'm doing this, right? I'm not just like reading a script. I'm channeling doing is that the moon trine Pluto can bring deep concentration to really go into things deep emotionally, right? Whether it's shadow work with Pluto, whether it's just getting to the bottom of things, right? So that way, with it being an Aquarius, that you can find the radical transformation. And being able to understand with Pluto is like being able to understand things with more clarity. So there's a deep, powerful truth here and understanding when it comes to, parts of yourself that are ready to be transformed emotionally, spiritually. And then we step into the new moon in Gemini. And again, that happens pretty late. It happens around 10:02 p.m. Central Time. So here it is, this moon in Gemini, new moon in Gemini, kicking us off to a fresh beginning. So question everything. Listen to your curiosity. Speak your truth. Discover your truth. Be more social. Right? Let go of old limiting beliefs by questioning them. What is really the truth? Right? And so, of course, this lunation cycle is going to be building up over the next 2 weeks until we step into the full moon in Sag. And then, of course, we start to wane off that full moon, and then we come in, then the next 2 weeks after that, we're going into the next lunation cycle. So let's go to the next day here, though. Let's go to the next day. One sec. And get this pulled up. Right. All right, May 27th, we're going to have, we have Mercury trine Pluto this day. My door just closed. I feel like spirits. I'm going to take that as a sign. It's almost like this is the day to block out the noise and find the signal. Block out the noise. Anyways, all right, let's take a look here. We have here, so this would be the day of Mercury trine Pluto, right? Mercury in Gemini trine Pluto in Aquarius. Pluto is a planet that deals with transformation, and when it's retrograde, it brings a deeper urge to take action against established forms in your life that have been blocking you from deeper transformation. And with it being in Aquarius, like where it's been blocking you from, with it being Mercury, like with communication, right? Like, because Aquarius deals with the collective, it deals with groups, it deals with community, and it deals with the connection of all that stuff. And so this is where you can find a more powerful resonance of your truth to be able to show up to the collective and share your ideas, have conversations, right? But when it comes to a personal level, with Mercury here in Gemini, that's starting to trine Pluto. Like, this is your mind going through a deeper sense of transformation. This is your intellect going through a deeper sense of transformation. Mercury trine Pluto as well can be deep discoveries. Really wanting to really look into things, right? And through doing that, you find a more powerful truth. You find deeper clarity, deeper wisdom. So the mind is definitely, and the intellect is being reshaped, transformed. And it's a trine. Like, trine energy, it's like it's there, but you have to tap into it. Because people just think, oh, there's a trine, it'll just naturally work out. It's like, yes and no. Like, you have to use the energy. And today, this moon sextile Mars, let's see, where's this moon at? This moon's going to sextile Mars this day. Let's just move this forward here. All right, here we have it. This moon here in Gemini is going to sextile Mars, and then also this day, the moon is going to sextile Venus too. So talk about your emotions being on the same page as, with Mars. Mars deals with initiative, taking action. So feeling emotionally inspired and motivated to take action. And then that moon sextile Venus, you'll realize that there's just a natural receptivity to things, right? Really good day for relationships and having deep conversations and moving forward with things. But just when it comes to you in general, it's about, okay, I'm feeling more inspired, motivated, and driven and receptive here to allow myself to take action and to go after my desires and to enjoy them. And I think through doing that, through this energy with that Mercury trine Pluto, it's like you start to understand something more deeper that maybe was once hidden from you before. All right, let's go here to the next day because that's all that's going on. So let's see. But that before I go there, but that moon in Gemini, sextile Mars in Leo, like this is about having fun and finding the courage to move forward with things and allowing yourself to be bold and expressive. And with that moon sextile Venus, allowing yourself to be bold and expressive and embody, who you are. A lot of people probably gonna be talking this week, communicating, which is a good thing, I think. So I think this week, just the energy moving forward is like everybody's kind of breaking out of these old shells. Everybody's sort of coming out of confusion. That Saturn in Pisces with that North Node in Pisces. The North Node, the nodes already amplify things, right? They're intense. So that North Node is just intensifying Saturn in Pisces, and Saturn in Pisces is like, you can feel confused. It's like you're just having to really feel things out, listen to your intuition, surrender to the unknown, really deepen into your spirituality. But that can be kind of hard because you have to trust and surrender and let go, and it can be confusing. And I think Saturn in Pisces was like trying to help people search for meaning, deeper meaning. But now since it's in Aries, you've found the meaning. And even if you didn't, it don't even matter because now there's a whole new cycle starting. So, but this day, May 28th, let's just go there real quick, May 28th. Now on this day, May 28th, we have the moon that's going to square the nodes. This moon in Gemini is going to square the nodes in Pisces and Virgo. And then we have the moon in Gemini that's going to sextile Chiron and Aries. Then we're going to have the moon conjunct Jupiter. The moon going to square Saturn. Moon comes into Cancer at 0 degrees, going to square Saturn and Aries. And then the moon that's going to square Neptune in Aries. So this may be a sort of frustrating day. Maybe a frustrating day. It's all within your attitude and perception of how you handle things emotionally, and whether or not you let it totally disrupt your emotional rhythm. But I definitely got to be real. I think this day, maybe a little bit frustrating. I got to be real. I would watch your temperament. I would watch your actions. I think this is definitely a day of like emotional self-control and not letting, your anger get the best of you. Right. And the reason why I say that, I'll get to that part here in a second, but this moon here it is at 24 Gemini. This is really early in the morning, at like 3 in the morning. This moon's going to square the nodes. And so this is Central Time, so you have to just apply it to your time zone. Most of you probably be asleep, but everybody has different schedules, like I always say. But that moon square the nodes, it's like this moon in Gemini is and it's very close to Jupiter too. So this moon in Gemini is searching for understanding and emotional clarity, right? The moon, about our path, our soul's path, right? So we may not feel aligned emotionally here, right? This can bring very scattered thinking with this moon in Gemini conjunct Jupiter and square the nodes. But it's important not to get pulled off like your spiritual path, right? If you need time to breathe and to relax and to surrender, do that. But this can spark very scattered thinking. right? So it's important not to get caught up in distractions with that moon conjunct Jupiter squaring the nodes. Because what is Jupiter? Jupiter's positivity. It expands things, it amplifies things. And so it just brings a lot more of things in this instance. And it's with the mind, thoughts, and it can be very scattered. So it's just important not to get distracted. And, if you need time to just by having awareness of it, it's like you can now understand it and not get too caught up in things emotionally. Right? You're feeling overwhelmed about the direction of your life and how you're going to grow and stuff like that. Or because you can even feel pressure of to figure things out or feel a little bit lost. Right? So, that North Node of Pisces, you got to fill it out intuitively, right? And you can't, with this South Node in Virgo, be too focused on being perfectionistic or, just trying to manage every little thing. You gotta let that go and surrender more and move forward off of what you know in the current moment. And if you don't know what's going on in the current moment, just give it an hour or two. All right. And then also we'll have this moon that's going to be sextiling Chiron here as well. So I think this is very interesting. Here's Chiron in Aries. Because anytime you have any type of Chiron aspect, whether it's a trine, sextile, opposition, square, it's going to bring up Chiron energy regardless. The squares are more harsh. The oppositions are probably more harsh. But the sextiles and the trine, it brings up, okay, I'm noticing something about myself, Chiron in Aries, of where I'm probably, because Venus is there too, it's getting very close, of where I'm not, of where I feel inadequate or where I don't feel like I'm good enough, right? Or it can bring up things with self-worth, self-esteem, or it can make you feel like, man, I wish I had the courage, or I wish I had the strength, or the self-determination, right, to move more forward with what I feel emotionally is true. And you still can, right? The thing with Chiron and Aries is you actually heal through action. You heal through stepping into what you think you can't step into, or where you feel inadequate. With that moon. But it's offering healing, right? So there's an opportunity to heal through understanding, okay, what is true for me emotionally, right? And where is it that I can really start to embody this new truth and let go of the old version of myself. Let go of that old version of yourself. And then this day we'll have, we have that moon that's conjuncting Jupiter, right? And it's interesting too, because as this moon is squaring the nodes and is sextiling Chiron, the good thing about it is that as we progress forward, when that moon starts to conjunct Jupiter exact around 8 in the morning, right? There is a burst of optimism. There's a burst of positivity and understanding and clarity. But I think it's just about first sort of dealing with that energy with that moon square the nodes and then sextile Chiron. It's really wanting to move forward down your spiritual path, but then there's just these things coming up that you need to attend to and heal and look at more honestly and more truthfully. And then once you do that, it's that moon starts to come onto Jupiter. It's okay, I'm finding a better rhythm here of more positivity and more joy. And then later in the day, this moon will come into Cancer around in the afternoon, 1:13 p.m. Central Time, of course. This moon will come into Cancer at 0 degrees, and right when it comes in, it's going to square Saturn, and then it's also going to square Neptune. So this is what I was talking about in regards to watching your temper. Moon in Cancer is very sensitive, right? The moon's at home in Cancer, and so the moon in Cancer is, it's looking for emotional comfort. It's looking for emotional security, nourishment, more softness, right? But that Saturn in Aries is provoking it, wanting discipline. And also Saturn too can bring limitation and restrictions, so you can feel emotionally restricted. And Aries does deal with anger and frustration, So this could be to where you can become emotionally upset, right? Because the Saturn in Aries is like demanding action and possibly bringing restriction and delays, right? Or showing you like certain limitations that you have to take action where you need to take action. But this Moon in Cancer, it has a lot to do with comfort, and that's why they square Cancer and Aries, right? And this also too is like emotional self-expression, like you feeling restricted in your emotional self-expression or wanting to express something but not really knowing how. And so it's like important to have emotional self-control, not to get into fights. I would watch your anger, not to let that frustration boil over. With this Moon in Cancer also sextiling Neptune, Neptune can bring distortions and illusions, and so like we can create this whole story about something, and so it's just important to not allow that story to fuel what you're upset about. And it may be uncomfortable because it's like, it's like you got to do stuff here, and it's like, it's pushing you out of your comfort zone. So I would just say like emotional self-control. Definitely, I feel for this day to have emotional self-control. All right, let's go to the next day here. Now, the 29th, let's see. All right, here we have it. So the 29th. The 29th is the big day of the Cazimi of Mercury and the Sun making its conjunction. This is going to bring a mental sharpness and clarity to your mind, to your ideas. Probably a lot of conversations happening this day. Very talkative, probably very social energy that you're going to be feeling. But the mind and the heart syncing, and there's a message, there's a personal understanding and truth and clarity that's coming through, right? So I always see the Mercury Cazimis with the Sun as like, it's a perfect time to move forward with your ideas, right? Or to write, or to communicate something that's meaningful, to have those conversations, because your mind is sharp and your voice is carrying authority, right? So it's an ultimate day of truth and clarity, like the clarity that we've sort of all been looking for. This Gemini season is definitely helping us understand now. So that's all that's happening this day, right? And then and then we go to May 30th here. But the one thing I kind of do see to pay attention to before we go to the 30th is that this Venus is getting close to Chiron this day, and it happens more direct on Sunday. Like it's exact on Sunday, and I'm picking this up intuitively that this Venus conjunct Chiron in Aries. Like again, Venus conjunct Chiron in Aries can bring up things around like self-worth, self-esteem, not feeling good enough, right? Or sort of like a wound coming up that's stopping you from being self-determined or brave or bold, or to initiate things, or to fully more embody something without you feeling like that thorn that's stuck in your side. But where that thorn is, and where that pain is, or where that uncomfortable energy is, that's your purpose right there. That's what Chiron is. It shows you that's the purpose of what something that maybe you need to heal or look at, right? And understand that you don't identify with the wound. Don't identify with it. Understand what it is, so that way you have power over it and it doesn't have power over you. Because that Sun, that Cazimi with the Sun and Mercury, like, you ever heard that saying, the truth hurts? Well, that's very much what that energy could be like. Now, because it's 2.5 degrees away, and so it's I don't think you could feel it right away, but you could maybe somewhat pick up on it. But one of my favorite people, David Goggins, says in one of his books, Never Finish, the whole truth can't hurt you if it serves you. And so whatever the truth is that's being served in your life, it's helping you here with this Mercury conjunct the sun. Now, like I said, you may not feel this that potently because it's 2.5 degrees away, but as we sort of go through the week, it's going to come up on Sunday. So let's go ahead and go to the 30th. So here we have it. All right, so here we go. Friday, May 30th. The moon is going to square Venus at 3:44 a.m. Central Time. We have the moon trine the North Node at 5 a.m. Central Time. And then we have the moon square Chiron at 7:39 a.m. Central Time. Moon that's going to sextile Uranus, and the moon that's going to trine Saturn, and the moon that's going to trine Neptune, and the moon that's going to oppose Pluto. Now, this is a lunar transit day. So let's go ahead and take a look at it. But as we go in here, like I said, you just have to adjust the time zones. Like sometimes, like for instance, like the moon square Venus at 3:44 a.m. Central Time, maybe most people be asleep, right? Or just depending on where you live, it could be, or what your schedule is like, right? But I'm going to go through them anyways because I understand that. So here we go. So this moon here, let's see, this moon here in Cancer. This moon here in Cancer is, one sec. This moon here in Cancer is squaring Venus here in Aries. This could bring up conflict in relationships, right? Like, so I would just be aware. I think it's about finding the middle ground here, between, what feels right and sort of what you want to do and stuff like that. Because this Venus in Aries is going to it wants to be able to enjoy independence and new things. But another thing too, let me back up for a second, is that this moon is, if it's squaring Venus, it's activating that Chiron. So here, like that wound energy sort of coming up. And with the moon being in Cancer, it's like it can be very emotional. Right, because your emotional needs aren't being met. Right, so in relationships, this could bring up things, emotional needs not being met, not feeling satisfied, pleased. But I think it's about finding balance. Right, having to find the middle ground between what feels good emotionally and what you're willing to compromise. But one thing I've noticed about Chiron transits as well, it's very easy to fall into like the victim mindset. So like for instance, Venus conjunct Chiron, moon square Chiron. This doesn't necessarily have to be you. This could be somebody that you know or other people, like playing the victim. Like, no, it's not about playing the victim, right? Or even slipping into like the woe is me. It's about understanding, okay, what do I emotionally need for myself? And what do I feel emotionally comfortable with? And where is it that I'm where is it that I'm not feeling comfortable? And why is that? And what can I do to change that? Right? Whether that's, having to put up boundaries, or whether that's, maybe being too defensive, right? So it's like you kind of have to fill it out. But this moon here is also trining the North Node in Pisces. So you're gonna have to fill things out intuitively here. Like your emotions are guiding you in the right direction. So you have to trust your intuition, right? Like align with your intuition, align with what your emotional intuition is telling you. But it can feel a little bit uncomfortable. And so again, it's like maybe you do have to put up boundaries with things, or maybe you have to kind of step outside of your comfort zone, right? Because Aries wants action, right? Aries is fearless, right? Aries don't care about comfort. Aries is like, I'm going this way. This is what I'm doing. And that moon in Cancer, the moon in Cancer, it's like when it moves outside the familiar, that's when it starts to become uncomfortable. You feel the uncomfort energy. Aries thrives on that shit, right? So it's about having to find the balance there, having to understand what that is, right? Kind of moving outside your comfort zone, outside your comfort zone, especially if your intuition is telling you to. Right? Or your intuition could be saying like, hold on, no, like I need to deal with these things and I need to put up boundaries here and focus on this stuff. Right? So you gotta feel it out. All right. And then this moon later in the day is going to sextile Uranus and Taurus here. And then it's also, it's going to sextile Uranus and Taurus. So, there's going to be new, Uranus brings the spark, the that sudden urge of wanting to do something different, right? So it brings in excitement. And with it being Taurus, Cancer, it's like excitement that's pleasureful, right? What feels good emotionally. Right, and also this can bring a lot of clarity here, helping you shift and make changes where there's been a lot of rigidity. Right, so you can shift, make changes, and still feel stable, still feel that stability emotionally. And then this moon will come into Leo. I'm looking forward to this. This moon will come into Leo here today on the 30th, and it's going to come in, it's going to trine Saturn. Talk about bold confidence, self-determination, expressing your will, having fun, being creative, and doing it in a very disciplined, responsible, and constructive way. So you'll probably find a lot of empowerment because that moon also is going to sextile Neptune, right? Bringing in the creativity, right? And the visions of glory. I'm going to keep saying that with Neptune and Aries. Right, your heart's going to come more open, right? Not only become more open and receptive emotionally, but also since Saturn's there, it's like, okay, there's also a way I can ground this and structure this. All right. And then this moon will oppose Pluto. So later on, so this moon is going to start opposing Pluto. And it's going to be interesting too, because intuitively what I pick up is that, moon in Leo is like you're wanting to express your heart, step into your own individuality, creativity, step into your own confidence, step into your own authority. But this moon opposition to Pluto does want you to take into consideration, because I'm going to be real, I'm a Leo, right? I'm actually a 2-degree Leo, right? July 24th, 1996 Leo. That, like, Leo energy, I'm giving both sides of the coin here, but Leo energy is like, we can't be egotistical and all about ourselves. It's like, we're going to focus on our own happiness. I don't give a fuck, right? But Pluto and Aquarius deals with people and the collective and everybody else that's involved. It's like the group, right? And Leo can just be, the egotistical one, right? So this moon in Pluto is going to confront you and be like, okay, how can you bring that joy and that happiness to everyone else with moon opposed Pluto and Aquarius? But also too, it can bring up challenge in regards to, where am I giving away my individuality because everybody wants me to be basic. Everybody wants me to follow the herd or follow the crowd. Because this moon in Leo is going to want to express from the heart, move from the heart, step into having fun and in your own individuality. But also, like, there is this demand from Pluto that's like wanting you to keep the higher collective in mind and also be open to, not being all about yourself. But it could be the other way around too, to where people, because that moon is going to sextile or trine Saturn and trine Neptune, because people see you stepping into your strength, stepping into your confidence, your authority, and having fun, and being creative, that Pluto in Aquarius can sometimes be like other people judging you or telling you not to be that way. Right? And so it's sort of a compromise, but it's like not giving away your all not giving away all of yourself, but also having to understand, other people too. So I hope that makes sense. All right. So here we have it. Let's go to the next day here. Saturday, May 31st. Now this day we just have the sun sextile the moon, and then we have the moon sextile the sun, and then we have the moon sextile Mercury. So I think this is also a pretty positive day as well. Here we have it here. This moon here in Leo, making that sextile to the sun in Gemini, and then it's also going to sextile Mercury in Gemini. So yeah, again, moon and Leo energy is very fun, very playful, very creative, spontaneous, right? It's seeking happiness and adventure, love, creativity, encouraging you emotionally to express yourself boldly. And that moon is going to, bring in the harmony, right? Or sorry, that sun in Gemini is going to also give core stability and harmony, right? And with it being Gemini, it's like communicating, having fun, socializing, moving forward on your ideas, following your curiosity. And then Mercury is pretty much the same thing, right? So this is like very chatty energy, wanting to talk, express, communicate. Right. Be confident and bold in your ideas. So the last day here, June 1st, if we go there, June 1st, here we go, June 1st, this is the Venus conjunct Chiron day, right? So here it is, right? Here's Venus, and here's Chiron, and here they are together. So again, it's important not to identify with the wound, to heal the wound, to heal what comes up. Like for instance, Venus, like it may bring up something around like your self-worth, whether or not you feel good enough, beautiful enough, smart enough, confident enough. It's like maybe those things could be true. Like maybe what Chiron is saying, like, hey, we should probably, let's work on this. Let's work on this. But it's just the wound itself to where it's like, man, I just wish it was just easier. I just wish it was just this way. And it's like you can easily fall into like the victim mindset and self-sabotage, right? So it's like important. It's like, where do you not feel good enough, right? Why do you feel that way? Let's look at that, right? Because like I said, Chiron will always reward you if you do the work. But it's the work itself that's like, I got to push through this shit. Aries, I got to use my strength and my confidence. I got to be self-determined. But also Venus too is like, you're worthy of what you want. You're worthy of what you want to receive. And I think this is about shedding layers of your old self, Aries, and allowing yourself to fully embody the new version of yourself. But first, it's like it is about letting go of some shit or healing some stuff. So, but I think the moon transits here are pretty supportive with this energy this day. Because this day will have this moon in Leo conjunct Mars. Now, I would say just be aware of like your actions. This can be very impulsive energy, but also it can bring a lot of drive, self-determination, and boldness to like take action and move forward. Right? To express your will, Leo. Step into what makes you happy, move forward in the direction of your happiness. Be confident. Right. And so that's going to help here. It's going to help this energy. It's like, you know what? Because I kind of see this as I'm tired of this shit. Like I'm tired of feeling like I'm not good enough. I am fucking good enough. And if this is what I got to deal with, I'm going to deal with it. And so that way I can just overcome this shit. And then And then this moon trine Venus here, the moon's going to come in and trine Venus, and also it's going to trine Chiron as well. So, this moon in Leo is really wanting us to emotionally reclaim, our heart and let go of the old wounds and to move forward. Even if we're not ready, Venus conjunct Chiron in Aries. Like, you may not feel ready, right? Chiron energy in Aries. You're ready. This is your purpose, Chiron. Like, where your wound is, there's your purpose. Or where you feel like you're not good enough, there's your purpose. And then this moon also today is going to square Uranus and Taurus. And so every time the moon Uranus transits, it's going to bring unpredictable shakeups, and it's important to improvise, adapt, overcome, be flexible, because it will bring up unexpected things, and you just kind of have to roll with it. You can't let it disrupt your emotional rhythm of the day. Right, because there may be some unexpected stuff that come up with Taurus. So like Taurus can deal with, something happening, and it being connected to like money or resources or whether or not you feel good enough, right? But the good thing is that the moon as well at the same time, and I'll just show you this visually. And you know what I'll do down below, I'll try to remember, but I'll put the transits down below in the comments or in the description of all the days and the times. So if you want the times of the day, you just have to correlate it to your time zone. It'll be Central Time. But yeah, let's keep going here. Here it is, like this moon. This moon here that's square to Uranus, that's happening. Also, this moon is also sextiling Jupiter. So this moon in Leo sextile Jupiter. So it's probably a positive disruption with moon square Taurus, or even if it's like some type of disruption or unexpected thing, it's like, okay, whatever, right? Like, because Jupiter's providing the positivity, right? Helping you sort of, adjust really quickly or adjust more quickly. So, yeah, that's it for this week. Those are the transits here. Those are the transits for the week. So I feel like, again, I feel like there's a lot of clarity, new vision, and also healing this week. But I think this week is just like we just get more truth, we get more clarity, we get more understanding. Right, and then that new moon, it's like this is a new book we're writing. So write it with your personal truth, and it's like you get to write it. So that's what I got for the week. I appreciate everyone for watching. If you liked the video, be sure to hit that thumbs up button for me. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. And otherwise than that, let me know down below, what you're looking forward to this week or what's going on with you. I mean, Saturn just came into Aries, so what house is Saturn in for you? So, all right. I appreciate you for tuning in and staying all the way to the end. And until next time, I will see you later. Bye, everyone.